The mockery exploded like a bomb in the mall lot, my red taco truck gleaming under harsh lights. Lucas, my older brother, strutted from his sneaker boutique, pointing and howling. From chef to street clown, he bellowed, doubling over in fake hysterics. Shoppers joined, their laughs slicing my pride like a dull knife. I'd sunk every dime into this truck, escaping a soul-crushing kitchen job where chefs barked orders. My dream was freedom, built on grandma's recipes I'd perfected over years, scribbled in her faded notebook. But Lucas, the family's golden boy with his trendy store, turned my unveiling into a circus. Phones snapped my shame, whispers stung, poor guy. My face burned, hands clutching a greasy taco tray. I'd painted this truck myself, every brushstroke a hope. Lucas always belittled me, my ideas, my stumbles, my quiet ambition. This public humiliation broke something deep. I forced a smile, passing samples to curious faces, but fury simmered like overcooked beans. His smirk as he sauntered back inside fueled my vow, I'd never forgive him. The crowd thinned, leaving shattered confidence but a spark of defiance. I wasn't just the overlooked brother anymore. 20 years of his taunts flashed, enough. This wasn't about tacos, it was my fight for respect. As dusk settled, I locked up, heart pounding with purpose. His laughter would haunt him soon. I'd make sure of it. If you're watching this, subscribe, like and let me know where you're watching from. That night, in my cramped apartment, Lucas's laugh echoed like a cruel ghost haunting my thoughts. I paced the worn carpet, the scene replaying, his biting words, the crowd's mocking giggles. Memories flooded, him stealing my spotlight at family dinners, dismissing my cooking as kid stuff while mom beamed at him. I'd always been the shadow to his shine, the one sweating harder for less praise. Today, in front of strangers, his cruelty peaked, raw and public. My truck was my rebellion, built with months of savings from greasy diner shifts, every detail a piece of me, red paint, hand-lettered menu. But he crushed it openly. Tears pricked my eyes, but I blinked them back, jaw tight. Something hardened, like steel forging in a fire's heat. No more being his punching bag. I grabbed my truck keys from the chipped counter, gripping them tight, their cold weight a promise of fight. They weren't just metal, they were my weapon now. Sleep dodged me, dreams twisted with his smirk, his voice. By morning, resolve burned like a gas flame. I wouldn't just survive his mockery, I'd flip the table entirely. Lucas thought he'd won, parading back to his store. But I felt a shift, a plan forming in the dark. This wasn't over. It was just beginning, and I'd make him regret it. Morning dragged, doubts whispering I'd fail again, my truck a fool's gamble. But by noon, a miracle struck, a foodie vlogger's post went viral, "These tacos are gold, forget the haters." Her video exploded, racking thousands of views overnight. My line tripled, snaking across the dusty lot. Strangers cheered, snapping selfies with my red truck, shouting, "You're the real deal." I hustled, flipping tortillas, heart racing with sudden hope. Sales soared, I sold out by dusk, hands sticky with salsa. For once, people saw me, not Lucas's shadow. From his boutique window, he glared, fuming as crowds ignored his sneakers for my food. His empty aisles mocked his fading swagger. He slammed a glass display, but I caught his envious scowl, it fueled me like hot sauce. This wasn't just business, it was proof I could rise above his taunts. Another influencer arrived, filming as sunset painted the sky orange. Momentum built like a runaway train. Lucas's jealousy twisted his face, his store dim against my buzzing corner. He thought he'd buried me, but I was sprouting through concrete cracks. Fans waved, tacos in hand, yelling praise. I smiled, but my mind sharpened. His next move loomed, dark and desperate. This viral wave was my weapon, and I'd ride it to bury his pride. A week later, Lucas struck hard. Mall security towed my truck, grunting, "Prime spots reserved." I saw him slip the guard cash, smirking from his store's doorway. I flashed my permit, shouting rights, but they forced me to a grim corner behind reeking dumpsters. Heart sinking, I watched shoppers pass, my crowd thinning to a trickle. Doubt clawed, was this my end? Lucas thought he'd won, his boutique glowing while my dream faded in the shadows. But a family wandered over, sniffing my sizzling grill. "Best tacos ever," the dad said, ordering heaps, kids grinning. Word spread, loyal fans hunted me down, turning my corner into a secret haven. Sales dipped briefly but roared back, fiercer than before. His sabotage backfired, people loved the "hidden gem" story, posting online. By evening, I locked up, spotting Lucas staring from his lit window, face tight with failure. His plan crumbled, my dream held firm. A group waved, kids munching happily, shouting, "Keep going." Proof I wasn't beaten. But tension coiled like a spring, he'd escalate, I knew it. The air felt thick, like a storm brewing. I cleaned my grill, resolve hardening. This was war, and I was ready for his next dirty blow. Grinding in that corner built my spine tougher. One rainy dusk, Mr. Ramirez, the old janitor with a wise limp, mopped nearby and struck up a chat. "Seen vendors crash here," he said, eyes twinkling like he'd seen it all. "You've got heart, kid." He shared mall tales, once a vibrant hub, now fading under tenants like Lucas who paid late. Then, a bombshell dropped, owners selling soon. "She's bone-tired." My pulse spiked like a live wire. Buy them all? Insane, but thrilling. "Ownership changes everything," he added, shuffling off into the drizzle. I stood stunned, mind racing like a runaway engine. That night, I dug online. Mrs. Clark, the owner, was open to bids, frustrated with decline. Visions flared, revamp it, kick Lucas out, turn his laughter into dust. But money? A brick wall. His "street clown" taunt echoed, mocking my limits. I wiped my counter, heart pounding with possibility. This could be my path to flip his game entirely. Suspense gripped me, what if I could pull it off? The idea burned, risky but alive like a fresh tortilla on the grill. I locked up, rain soaking my worn jacket, but inside, a fire roared. Lucas wouldn't see this coming, and that made it electric. Despite the corner, my truck soared like a rocket. I catered weddings, office lunches, built a fan army online, savings stacking like fresh tortillas. Lucas watched from his boutique, seething as his sneaker sales tanked. Shoppers skipped his racks for my tacos, lines wrapping the lot like a festival. He barked at empty aisles, muttering to a clerk, "That truck's killing my business." His swagger cracked, jealousy raw as cut onions. I added spicy fusion specials, drawing crowds that blocked his door. Success tasted better than my hottest salsa. Overheard, he vowed, "I'll crush him before he gets bigger." But I was already climbing, order by order, tweet by tweet. My corner buzzed with life, his store dimmed like a dying bulb. The shift crackled, power tilting my way. Fans cheered, snapping photos, spreading my name across social feeds. Lucas's face twisted each time he peeked out, blinds half closed. I tallied profits under twinkling stars, grinning wide. He couldn't stop this tide, it was too big now. Every sale was a jab back, every smile a win. But his vow lingered, a dark shadow over my glow. I knew he'd strike again, harder, meaner. The game was heating up, and I was ready to play dirty if needed. One foggy dawn, horror hit like a sledgehammer, my truck trashed. Tires slashed flat, windows smashed to shards, glass glittering like broken dreams on asphalt. Spray paint screamed in bold red, "Go home." My gut twisted, Lucas's work, his envy boiling over. Police scribbled notes, but evidence was thin as a stale chip. I circled the wreckage, heart hammering like a jackhammer. This was my life, my fight, my everything. Fear mixed with fury, rebuild or fold under his attack. Fans called, offering tools, money, support. I taped windows, borrowed wheels from a buddy, and by noon, served from a patched setup. Customers swarmed, shouting, "We've got your back." The attack shook me, but their rally strengthened my spine like rebar. I wasn't done, not by a long shot. Dusk fell, shadows moved near Lucas's store. He watched, face blank but eyes dark as coal. His message burned in my brain, a challenge I'd meet head-on. Tension thickened, this was no prank, it was war. I scrubbed paint off, hands steady but mind racing. He thought he'd break me, but I'd rise tougher. A kid waved, taco in hand, yelling, "You're the best." That fueled me. Lucas's next move loomed, but I'd be ready, sharper, stronger than ever. Next day, Mr. Ramirez found me sweeping glass under a gray sky. "Rough hit," he said, then whispered, "Meet someone." He led to Mrs. Clark's office, tucked behind the mall's food court. The owner, warm and sharp in her 60s, munched my tacos, eyes bright. "Delicious. Your grit special, kid." She vented, malls fading, tenants like Lucas dragging it down with late rent, bad attitudes. "Needs fresh blood. I'm selling soon, you could buy, if you dare." My breath caught like a hook. Own the mall? Evict Lucas? Justice felt poetic, sharp as a chef's knife. Millions seemed impossible, but her smile urged me on. "Think big," she said, handing me a business card. I left, mind ablaze with wild plans. Her hint, "Dare to buy," sparked a wildfire in my chest. Back at my truck, fans cheered, oblivious to my racing thoughts. I pictured Lucas's face when I'd turn his world upside down. The mall could be mine, his store gone like a bad dream. Suspense pulsed, what if I made it real? I flipped tortillas, heart racing like an engine. This wasn't just revenge, it was rewriting our story. Lucas's laughter would choke on my victory. I locked up, feeling the weight of a massive, thrilling possibility. The mall's price crushed me like a fallen beam, millions I couldn't touch. Nightly spreadsheets mocked my limits, numbers glaring from my cracked laptop. My truck thrived, but mall ownership? A fantasy too big. Lucas's street clown taunt echoed, gnawing at my confidence like a pest. I nearly quit, staring at figures that refused to budge. Then Mrs. Clark called, voice steady, "Investors bet on people, not just cash." Hope flickered like a pilot light. She sent contacts, I built pitches, dreaming of a mall alive with local vendors, food stalls, Lucas's store erased like a bad stain. Fear lingered, what if I crashed and burned? But his mockery fueled me, sharp as a chilly burn. I paced my tiny kitchen, envisioning my name on the deed, the mall reborn. The stakes loomed huge, the chance electric as a live wire. Dawn broke, I typed furiously, refining plans, sweat on my brow. This wasn't just about money, it was about proving him wrong forever. The idea burned bright, risky but alive like a sizzling grill. I wouldn't back down. Lucas thought he'd buried me, but I was digging out, aiming higher than he'd ever dreamed. My truck's aroma filled the air, so did my ambition. The path was steep, but I'd climb it, no question. Pitching Camille, the restaurant mogul, my nerves sparked like a frayed wire. "Why fund a truck guy?" she asked, eyes piercing through her sleek office. I spilled my story, Lucas's public mockery, my viral rise, my vision to save them all with local flair. Passion poured like hot oil, she leaned in, intrigued. "I see fire," she said. "I'll back you, but prove you're more than tacos." Relief hit, but tension coiled like a spring. Her test would decide my fate. I left her glass-walled office, mind spinning like a blender. This was my shot to flip the script on Lucas. Back home, I prepped like a soldier, mapping plans, sketching mall layouts. Lucas's sabotage, tires, paint, felt small now, petty. Camille's deal was my ladder out of his shadow. I pictured his face when I'd own his world, his store gone. The stakes soared, pulse pounding like a drum. I wasn't just cooking now, I was building an empire to outshine him. Sleep faded, ideas burned brighter than my grill. Lucas thought he ruled, but I was rewriting the rules with every move. The test loomed, a make-or-break moment. I'd pass it, no matter what he threw next. My truck smoked, so did my resolve, hot and unyielding. Camille's challenge landed like a gut punch: cater a massive charity gala, 48 hours notice. Fail, deal's dead, she warned, voice sharp. Panic surged, hundreds of guests, high-end venue, complex menu of fusion tacos. I rallied helpers, ordered ingredients, heart racing like a revving engine. Then disaster, my supplier cancelled, mumbling, glitch. Lucas's bribe reeked, I knew his dirty tricks. Fury burned, failure wasn't an option. I hit the road, bartering with local farmers under a fading sun. They heard my story, mockery, vandalism, and piled my truck with fresh produce, their kindness a lifeline. Clock ticking, I worked through the night, exhaustion biting like cold wind. Lucas's smirk flashed, pushing me harder. This wasn't just food, it was my future, my chance to own his world. By dawn, ingredients stacked high, my team prepped in a frenzy. The gala loomed, a test of fire hotter than my grill. I flipped tortillas, hands steady but mind screaming. If I flopped, Camille's money vanished, and Lucas won, his laughter ringing again. Customers waved, unaware of the stakes. I pictured his gloating face if I failed. No way I'd let that happen. The sun rose, so did my grit, tough as rawhide. I'd beat his sabotage and claim my shot, no matter the cost. The gala sparkled with chandeliers, but I ruled the chaos backstage, dishing tacos with precision, sweat on my brow. Guests raved, best food ever. Camille nodded, impressed, her eyes gleaming approval. Success tasted like victory, sharper than my spiciest salsa. Then Lucas stormed in, red-faced, yelling, he cheated. Security hauled him out, laughter trailed him like a bad smell. I glowed, test aced, deal secured. Camille shook my hand firmly, we're partners. Elation surged, but Lucas's rage lingered in the air, his screams echoing as he was dragged away. His sabotage flopped again, his pride bruised. I cleaned up, heart pounding with triumph, my truck's aroma still clinging to me. The mall was closer now, its keys almost in my hand. Fans snapped photos, spreading my win across social feeds. Lucas thought he'd derail me, but I'd turned his move into my spotlight. The night ended, I exhaled, steady as a rock. His desperation showed, he was crumbling fast. I pictured owning his world, evicting his pride like trash. This wasn't just catering, it was war, and I was winning, battle by battle. Back at my truck, I locked up, ready for the next fight, my resolve burning hotter than ever. Digging deeper, I found Lucas's secret, his shop sank in debt, credit cards maxed, loans choking like vines. Vendors whispered about unpaid bills, missed shipments. Shock hit, I'd envied his success, but it was a lie, a house of cards. His confidence? A fragile mask hiding fear. He mocked me to feel bigger, scared I'd outshine him. Leverage shifted to me like a tide. I held back, waiting for the perfect moment, my mind sharp as a blade. This truth changed everything, rewriting our story. I stood in my truck, flipping tacos, but my thoughts plotted strategy. His laughter came from weakness, not strength, I'd use that. Night fell, customers cheered, oblivious to my edge. Lucas's store looked dim, his swagger fading like old paint. I pictured handing him papers, his world collapsing like a bad foundation. The thrill of it burned, hot as my grill. He thought he'd buried me, but I was rising, armed with his failure. My hands moved fast, serving fans, but my mind stayed calm, calculating. This wasn't just business, it was checkmate waiting to happen. His next move wouldn't matter. I had the upper hand now, and I'd play it perfectly. With Camille's funds, I sealed the deal with Mrs. Clark in her cozy office. "You're the future," she smiled, signing papers with a flourish. I owned them all, my name on the deed. Power surged like a hot grill firing up. First move, hand Lucas a legal notice, new management. His face paled, eyes wide with shock, hands trembling as he read. The ground shifted under him, his smug world tilting. I stood tall, watching his confidence crack like thin ice. Ownership wasn't just a title, it was a weapon, sharp and heavy. He clutched the paper, speechless, as I walked away, my boots echoing. My truck hummed outside, fans cheering, but my focus was razor sharp. Lucas's time was up. I pictured his eviction, his pride crushed like he'd crushed mine that day. This wasn't just revenge, it was justice, served cold as a winter night. I locked my truck, stars above bright, my heart pounding with purpose. His sabotage, his laughter, all fading like smoke. The notice was step one, legal and ironclad. He'd fight, I knew, but I was ready, armed with the deed. The game had flipped, and I held all the cards now. Family dinner turned ugly at Mom's old oak table. Parents, dazzled by Lucas, accused me, "You betrayed him. Stole his legacy." Blind to his debts, they praised his success, their voices sharp with blame. Pain stabbed like a fork, I'd only fought back after years of his taunts. I explained, voice steady, he mocked me first, in public, humiliated me. They scoffed, siding with him, their favoritism raw as ever. Lucas smirked, whispering, "They'll always choose me." The rift tore deeper, like a knife slicing my chest. I held firm, jaw tight, I earned this fair. But their words stung, echoing childhood where I was always second. Lucas leaned back, smug, as if he'd won again. I left, heart heavy but resolve hard as stone. They didn't see his lies, but I did, clear as day. Back at my truck, fans waved, unaware of the family war. I flipped tacos, mind racing with their betrayal. Lucas thought he'd keep their love, but I'd keep them all. The hurt burned, but so did my purpose. Night closed in, I locked up, ready for his counterattack, knowing I'd face it alone but stronger. Press conference day, I unveiled mall plans, local vendors, food hubs, a reborn community. Crowds roared approval under bright lights. Then mics cut out, Lucas's sabotage, his petty revenge. He shouted from the back, "Fraud. He stole it all." Chaos flared, reporters gasping. I grabbed a backup mic, voice calm, "Progress wins." Cheers drowned him out, loud as a storm. His face twisted, humiliated again in public. Reporters scribbled, fans filmed, spreading my vision across social media like wildfire. Lucas's stunt backfired, the crowd loved me more, chanting my name. I stood tall, heart racing with triumph. This wasn't just a speech, it was my claim, my flag planted. His store looked small now, its lights dim against my glowing stage. I pictured his eviction, his pride crumbling like stale bread. Suspense hung, what would he try next? I shook hands, smiled for flashing cameras, but my mind stayed sharp as a tack. Lucas slunk away, defeated for now, his shouts lost. Back at my truck, I served tacos, fans buzzing like bees. The mall was mine, and his time was ticking down fast. I locked up, night air crisp, feeling unstoppable, my victory spreading like salsa on a hot plate. I handed Lucas eviction papers myself, standing in his dim store. "You're out," I said, voice steady as steel. He crumpled them, screaming, "You'll drag me out." Rage flared in his eyes, but fear flickered too, raw and real. He vowed lawyers, war, his voice shaking. I stood firm, heart pounding like a hammer. This was my moment. His mockery turned to dust under my boots. He stormed off, papers scattered like leaves. I walked back to my truck, fans cheering, unaware of the battle raging. Lucas thought he'd fight and win, but I held the deed, the power. The mall was mine, his store a guest I could expel. Suspense coiled like a rope, he'd strike back, I knew it. I pictured movers clearing his shelves, his world collapsing like a bad recipe. This wasn't cruelty, it was consequence, served cold as ice. Night fell, I cleaned my grill, mind racing but calm. His screams echoed, but I was steady. The papers were legal, ironclad as a vault. He'd learn what it felt to lose everything. I locked up, stars bright, feeling the weight of power. This was my game now, and he was out of moves, scrambling in vain. In court, Lucas painted me as a greedy traitor, stealing his legacy. His lawyer spun tales of my betrayal, voice dripping with fake pity. But Camille dropped the bomb, documents of his debts, unpaid vendors, loans choking him like weeds. The judge's eyes narrowed, gavel ready. 30 days to vacate, she ruled, voice final. Victory surged through me like a hot rush. Lucas's face fell, his mask shattered into bits. He glared, but I stood tall, heart steady as a drum. Reporters scribbled outside, the story spread like grease fire. His lies crumbled under cold truth. I left court, sunlight hitting my face, feeling free as a bird. Lucas thought he'd win with charm, but facts won, hard and clear. Back at my truck, fans cheered, oblivious to the war I'd fought. I pictured his empty store, his pride gone like smoke. Suspense lingered, he'd try something desperate, I knew. I flipped tacos, mind sharp as a knife. This wasn't just a win, it was justice, served cold and legal, no loopholes. Night closed in, I locked up, ready for his final, futile play, my resolve burning brighter than ever. Lucas didn't stop. He teamed with a rival mall owner, plotting to poach my tenants with cheap leases. Mr. Ramirez overheard, tipping me off in a hushed whisper, he's scheming by the loading docks. Betrayal stung fresh, my own brother, still fighting dirty as mud. I thanked Ramirez, heart racing like a runaway car. Lucas thought he'd outsmart me again, but I saw his move clear as glass. His store dimmed daily, sales gone, yet he clung to sabotage like a lifeline. I stood in my truck, serving fans, but my mind plotted defense like a chessboard. His rival's mall loomed, a threat to my vision of a thriving hub. Tension gripped me, what if tenants left? But I wouldn't fold, not now. I pictured his face when his plan failed, his hope snuffed out. This wasn't just business, it was survival, raw and real. I cleaned my grill, resolve hardening like steel in a forge. Lucas's desperation showed his weakness, clear as day. I'd counter, smarter, tougher. Night fell, fans waved, tacos in hand. I locked up, ready to crush his scheme. His betrayal fueled me, but I'd win clean, no doubt. The mall was mine, and he'd learn that soon, hard and fast. I fought back with a food and culture festival, live music, local vendors, crowds packing my mall like sardines. Tenants signed new leases, loyal to my vision of community. Lucas's rival mall sat empty, his plan dead as a doornail. News headlines mocked, sinking brother flops again. His sabotage collapsed, humiliated in public again. Fans flooded my lot, snapping photos, spreading my win across social media like hot gossip. I stood on a stage, thanking vendors, heart pounding with triumph. Lucas's store looked like a ghost town, lights dim, racks bare as bones. I pictured his eviction, movers clearing his shelves like trash. This wasn't revenge, it was proof I was better, stronger. Suspense hung. What would he try now? Cornered. I shook hands, smiled for flashing cameras, but stayed sharp as attack. His failure was public, his pride crushed like a stale tortilla. Back at my truck, I served tacos, fans roaring like a crowd at a game. The mall thrived, his world sank into shadows. I locked up under stars, feeling unstoppable, my victory spreading like wildfire. Lucas was out of moves, and I was just starting to shine. Lucas's store was a shell, empty shelves, no staff, just dust. He raged inside, smashing displays, glass crunching, then sank, crying alone in the dark. I watched from outside, heart twisting like a knot. Pity flickered, he was still my brother, flesh and blood. But his 20 years of mockery, his vandalism, his schemes, they burned brighter than his tears. His pain didn't erase my humiliation that day in the lot, the crowd's laughter, the phones filming. I stood in the parking lot, fans cheering my truck, but my mind lingered on him. His collapse was real, his swagger gone like a popped balloon. I pictured movers clearing his store, his world vanishing like smoke. Suspense coiled. What would he do now, broken? I served tacos, hands steady, but compassion tugged like a loose thread. Was this enough? His tears mirrored my shame that day. I locked up, night quiet, wrestling with his ruin. This wasn't just victory, it was a mirror of his cruelty, reflected back. I'd won, but his sobs haunted me, heavy as wet dough. What came next? I'd decide soon, my heart caught between justice and family. I visited Lucas in his dim store, shelves bare as his pride. He looked broken, eyes red, face hollow. I mocked you because I was scared, he admitted, voice cracking like thin ice. Scared you'd outshine me, always. His confession hit like a punch, raw and real. My heart tore. Punish or forgive? 20 years of his taunts clashed with this moment, his mask gone. I remembered the crowd's laughter, his spray paint on my truck, the sting of his words. But his fear was true, his swagger crumbled. I pictured evicting him, his world in boxes, movers hauling it away. Yet something softened, like butter on a hot griddle. He was family, flawed like me, human. Suspense hung. Could I let go of the hurt? I served tacos outside, fans cheering, but my mind wrestled, heavy. This wasn't just revenge, it was a choice, hard and clear. His tears begged mercy, but my scars demanded justice. I left without a word, heart heavy as a stone. Night fell, I locked my truck, stars bright above. His confession shifted something, but not everything. I'd decide soon, the weight of it pressing like a full pot. I faced Lucas again in his empty store. You can't run a shop, I said, voice firm. But there's a role in the mall's community program, small, humble work. His eyes flickered, pride battling desperation like a storm. He hesitated, jaw tight, the old Lucas fighting to resurface. I stood firm, heart steady but torn by our shared blood. His mockery had cut deep, spray paint and laughter scarring me. But his collapse cut deeper, his tears real. This offer wasn't weakness, it was strength, my terms, my rules. He nodded slowly, no words, just a flicker of shame. I walked away, fans cheering my truck outside, their voices loud. Suspense lingered, would he take it, swallow his ego? I flipped tacos, mind racing with the choice. This wasn't forgiveness, it was a chance to rebuild, if he dared. His store stood empty, a ghost of his failure. I locked up, night calm, stars sharp. The mall was mine, he'd live in my world now. The choice was his, but the power was mine, solid as concrete. I'd won, and he'd learn what it meant to fall and rise. Months later, the mall buzzed like a beehive, vendors thriving, crowds packing new food courts, music echoing. Lucas worked quietly, organizing events, humbled, no trace of swagger. News outlets hailed me, "Man saves City Mall." Fans swarmed my truck, snapping photos, my story viral across feeds. I stood tall, heart full as a fresh taco. Lucas's store was gone, replaced by a local bakery, its ovens warm. His role was small, but he showed up daily, head low, effort real. I pictured that day, his street clown taunt, the crowd's chuckles. Now, tables turned, they cheered for me. Suspense faded, I'd won, clean and clear. I served tacos, fans roaring, but my mind settled, calm. This wasn't just business, it was legacy, built on grit. Lucas watched from the sidelines, learning slowly. I locked up under twinkling lights, proud as ever. The mall wasn't just mine, it was the city's heartbeat. I'd built something bigger than his mockery, stronger than his schemes. Victory tasted sweet, like my best salsa, no bitterness. I'd proved him wrong, and the world knew it now. I stood before the thriving mall, smiling wide, my red truck humming nearby. Lucas watched from afar, a shadow of his old, smug self. Fans snapped photos, news calling me the mall's savior, my story viral, shared by thousands. I'd flipped his laughter into my triumph, his street clown taunt now dust. His store was gone, his pride humbled, but I didn't gloat. I'd proved him wrong without cruelty, my success sharp as a knife. The crowd's cheers replaced their chuckles that day, my shame erased. Suspense was gone, I'd won on my terms, fair and square. I whispered to a passing camera, "Success is the sweetest revenge." The mall glowed, vendors bustling, my dream alive and breathing. Lucas worked quietly, part of my world now, his lesson learned. I locked my truck, stars bright, heart light as a feather. This wasn't just victory, it was proof that hard work outshines envy, always. My story spread, inspiring others to rise. I'd built more than a mall, I'd built respect, brick by brick. His mockery was a memory, my legacy was now. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the playlist now.